Obi Toppin for Kevin Huerter this offseason between the Sacramento Kings and the Indiana Pacers. Tell me, who says no? Who says no? As much as I liked what Obi Toppin did in the playoffs for the Indiana Pacers, I can't say that his impact far superseded, not even far superseded, was really even close to what Pascal Siakam was able to do as a primary offensive option throughout these playoffs. Despite still getting used to the roster and everybody, he was just probably the most consistent offensive player outside of, let's say, Tyrese Halliburton through all three levels of the playoffs. He's an all NBA player, all star. Obi Toppin is not him. And I think that we saw that against Boston. Obi Toppin kind of like shot beyond his reach, right? He was being asked to guard Tatum and be switchable and all this stuff. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, he's not quite that. But, but I don't think the Indiana Pacers necessarily need more of that. They're going to have Jarris Walker coming in next season. He should be sliding into some big time minutes that they're going to need to clear up for him. You still got Isaiah Jackson, Miles Turner, plus Pascal. You might even be able to bring back a Jalen Smith. You don't necessarily need depth in your front court anymore. Where they need depth is in the wing, especially a shooter. Doug McDermott is going to be a free agent, unrestricted free agent this offseason. He's past his prime. I don't know if he ever had a good enough prime to really make him, a must retain type of a player. He's bounced around the league a lot. But Kevin Huerter is a 6'8" version of Doug McDermott. A little bit more athletic, a little bit more versatile, able to do a little bit more coming off of screens and off the bounce. He had a kind of a off year last season, had a lot of injuries and wasn't able to really like find his footing again and have the season that he did the season beforehand. And I think that this is where the Sacramento Kings step in because they understand and they should understand. If they do not understand, I hope they truly do. And Sacramento Kings fans, please let me know. Please let me know. Does your front office get it? You cannot stand pat again. You cannot. You cannot sit back and just hope and trust that the team that you bring back is going to be good enough. And when I say good enough, I mean to legitimately make a run in the playoffs. What they did 2 years ago, beating the Warriors in the play-in, getting into the playoffs, eventually losing in the first round of the playoffs. They thought that, hey, Keegan Murray was going to take a jump. Kevin Huerter looks great. We got the best offense in the league, right? We should be just fine. The problem was they had a couple of injuries to some key guys like Trey Lyles, Kevin Huerter. Then they recognized that, oh, the league actually got better significantly, right? The Lakers got better. The Minnesota Timberwolves got tremendously better, right? The Western Conference in general got better, right? You still had the Phoenix Suns in their division. You still had the Clippers. You still had all these other teams that are used to making the playoffs. They realized that they stood pat and actually plateaued while everyone else took a step forward. And this isn't even to mention teams like New Orleans, who's still hoping to get Zion for a full season, right? Who are poised to be at the top of the West whenever Zion is actually healthy. They're right there at the top. Then you've got teams like the Memphis Grizzlies. John Morant essentially has sat out the last season and a half. And if I can forecast anything, I am going to tell y'all Memphis is going to be on an absolute tear. If they are healthy, expect them to probably be a number one or number two seed in the West next year. John Morant's going to be hungry. Jaren Jackson Jr., Vince Williams. You got Gigi Jackson, Desmond Bain. That team's going to be scary. It's going to be scary. So when you look at how all the teams in the West are actually taking those next steps, the big steps, and kind of all vying to be at the top of the West. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to say, there are really good teams. It's another thing to say we have a good group of contenders. Like I think last year in the East at the beginning of the season when everyone was healthy, you saw a lot of guys at the top, a lot of teams at the top, and you were like, whoa, the Eastern Conference has a lot of contenders. Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, right? That people saw and was like, whoa, they could be dangerous. And then in the West, I think you just kind of saw Denver. But then all of a sudden, you now see Denver, you now see Minnesota, you now see New Orleans. You're always going to have the Lakers, right? You're always going to have the Clippers. Now you've got Dallas, right? Then you got so many teams that are all going to be contenders next year. You have to make a move. You have to make a move. I said last season that if the Sacramento Kings don't trade Keegan Murray for Pascal Siakam, they will regret it. And the reason why I said that, it wasn't because I don't think that um, what's his name? Keegan Murray is a really good player. I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be, he's going to hit the All Star game a couple times, somewhere in that like not Kenny Smith. What's his name? Um, yeah, Smitty. It's going to be like Smitty, or he's going to be like Danny Granger. He's going to be one of those guys that has great size, versatile, inside out, great shooter, sniper, marksman who can do a little bit more off the bounce. And he's 23 years old. He's not ready to be your primary scoring option in the playoffs. Now, I think a lot of us will say, well, hey, if Malik Monk hadn't gotten hurt, this team could have been, scary and possibly definitely got into the first round. But everyone is going to take a step forward. You cannot rely upon that. Now, I will say I still like the roster. Domantas Sabonis, he needs some help in that front court. He needs some more athleticism and length, which is why I love Obi Toppin next to him. If they can trade somebody like Kevin Huerter for him, I think that could be a huge move for this team. And they can have some more size and athleticism up front while not giving up shooting, and have some more athleticism and length. And that could be a great move for them. And I almost forgot to mention Keon Ellis's emergence. What he was able to do in that playing game and on the back end of the season, showing absolutely elite level defense and athleticism. I think he has been for the Sacramento Kings everything that they thought that Chris Duarte was going to be for them. Right? He was the guy who was able to knock down shots while also being able to lock down other offensive perimeter players to take that pressure off of De'Aaron Fox. And I think that he's going to give them a defensive athleticism component that they haven't really had outside of Fox and Monk. And so I think Keon Ellis, especially at his size at 6'6", really kind of takes the place of Kevin Huerter, because I don't think that Sacramento can go back to a Kevin Huerter backcourt with De'Aaron Fox and then Keegan Murray and a Harrison Barnes and such. I think they have to do something here. And so I think having Keon Ellis, then you've got Keegan Murray, and then bringing in an Obi Toppin allows you to have far better size and interior play. Right now, you got a real lob threat that they haven't had before. Right, and you got a guy who can, do some inside out stuff. He's tough, he's physical, he's young, he's got some playoff experience. And then I think having guys like Trey Lyles off the bench as well, and then you have Harrison Barnes off the bench, I think it's going to allow them to really at least take a solid step forward. I don't think it's become a contender step forward, but I think healthy with those newer, younger, more athletic guys in place, I think it allows them to take that internal development plus a key free agent solid step forward to now they're not looking at being a play-in team as much as they're looking at, if we're healthy, we might be in the middle of the pack. I don't think that they're a team that's going to surprise anybody like they did a couple seasons ago and be this number one offense that's, a 1 or 2 seed. But I do think they can be a 4, 5, 6 seed. But as always, I want to know what you all think. Indiana Pacer fans, Sacramento Kings fans, get at me in the comment section. Who says no to this? Kevin Huerter for Obi Toppin. Sign and trade straight up. Who says no? Once again, my name is Ross of The Rock Never Stops. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Share this video in your friends' sports group chat. See what y'all think. Get at me in the comment section. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.